All right, hello, welcome to Wednesday Mindfulness meditation session. And if you can, thank yourself for joining and making time for yourself today so you have more available to give yourself and others. I was in DC Thursday through Sunday, got back late Sunday night. I was attending a Mindful Leadership Summit, and they have that conference annually. I think this was year 6 or 7, I can't remember. But I'm going to be sharing over the next couple weeks different things that I learned, new things I learned there, other things that were reinforced that I had forgotten about. So the one thing that I wanted to start with today is something called havening. It's a technique developed by two brothers, Stephen and Ronald Rubin. And they're twin brothers. One's studied as a dental surgeon, he got his degree. Her brother has a PhD in organic chemistry from Northwestern, studied and worked in Harvard, Rutgers, Mount Sinai School of Medicine, and Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. So between them, they have lots of knowledge. And they developed havening off of, I don't know if any of you have heard of EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So the havening is a touch movement, and it's considered a psychosensory practice that increases the delta brain waves, and those brain waves are usually seen related to sleep, stage 3 or stage 4. And sorry, let me double check my notes here, make sure I'm reiterating all this correctly. Yes, so it also reduces the effect of the amygdala, and the amygdala is a limbic system of the brain that has to do with fight, flight, or freeze, those survival instincts, and also processing of emotions. So these haven techniques, these movements, will help if we're getting agitated or we're spiraling in a difficult emotional situation, for example. The speaker who was talking about this technique says that she uses it in her mindfulness practice and being aware, interacting day to day. If she notices she's getting agitated, and she would say on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's getting to be a 6, then she would implement one of the haven techniques developed by the doctors. So I'm going to go over 3 of the havening techniques with us today here at the session, and then we'll maybe bring in a practice related to the havening technique after. So the first one is if you're crossing your arms and you have your hands resting on your shoulders. I know some people call in and may not be able to see the video, so I'll try and explain this as best possible. So you have your hands crossed, and then you're rubbing down to the elbows, and then lifting the hands back up, not rubbing up, just rubbing down, going back up to the shoulders and rubbing down to the elbows, lifting the hands off, bringing them up. So just rubbing down on that part of the arm between the shoulders and the elbows. And just do this a few times. Maybe you're noticing something in the body, shifting or changing. And you can put your hands in your lap, rest. Sometimes we'll draw in a breath as the body is relaxing. Maybe that happened to you with that practice. So that's the first of the havening techniques. The second is putting the fingertips in the middle of the forehead and then pulling across out to the temples. So you can keep repeating fingertips pressing into the middle of the forehead above the eyebrows and pulling out to the temples. Or if you like, you can move up and over the head. I'm not going to with my curly hair. I'll just keep my fingers here on the forehead. But feel free to practice that. Fingertips in the center of the forehead and pulling out. And you can move that up over the head. Take a rest, see how you feel after that. I know my sinuses have been bugging me, so that helped with that too. So that was nice. Okay, and the third havening technique is having your hands with your fingertips on the opposite wrist, and then pulling the hands apart so your fingertips end up touching each other. So being on the wrist to the fingertips of your other hand with your fingertips. And you can flip that around, do one with the right hand on top and then one with the left hand on top. So this one's a little less noticeable. You could have your hands resting in your lap if you're in a meeting. You're standing in line at the airport. Fingertips starting at the wrist, sliding across the inside of the palm to the other fingertips. You can rest your hands in your lap when you're done practicing that having technique. So the one that's supposed to work the most is the one with the fingertips. I won't say the most, but has the biggest impact, I guess, in the shorter period of time, is the hands on the forehead and pulling the fingertips across to the temples. Next would be having the hands on the shoulders and rubbing down to the elbows. And then third is the wrists. And the assumption is because it's closer to the brain, obviously, when you're touching your head, so the sensation is closer to the area that's being affected. But of course, like I mentioned, the one with the wrists is less noticeable, so would be easier to do in certain situations than others. So let's take a position today, something that is comfortable and alert to you, at ease and erect. Maybe you want to stand. Maybe you want to have your eyes with a soft gaze. So those are considering calming and grounding exercises, so that's why I didn't necessarily start today with a specific grounding exercise, because those are considered calming and grounding as well. Let's see if we can hone our attention to the body, maybe letting go of thoughts that may be swirling around, letting them drop softly into the background. Sensing where your body is connected to the ground. Maybe the feet are on the floor, shoes on the floor. Maybe you want to take off your shoes so you have better contact with the ground, helping to anchor more. Maybe if you're seated, noticing the buttocks in the chair. Maybe the back is against the chair. You're flying down, noticing where bringing the awareness and the focus, if possible, to the sounds in the room, or outside the area that you're in. Sounds are most prominent. Maybe there's a consistent sound like a computer running or a vent with air. Or maybe there's different sounds happening. Cars driving by, people talking. So this awareness practice, identifying the soundscapes that are happening. Relabeling sounds as good or bad or neutral. Or are we just letting the sound enter and exit without judging the sound? The focal point gets pulled away from sounds, identifying the thought, emotion, sensation. And seeing if we can let go and have that drop away, returning to the awareness and concentration on sounds. And feel free to stay with sounds, or if interested, shifting the awareness to the body breathing. Where is the body breathing? Where is it noticed? What is the focal point that's most prominent? Maybe it's the ribs in the back body, expanding and contracting. Maybe it's the diaphragm. And possibly the belly. Maybe the chest. It doesn't matter which focal point, one is not better than the other. The point is the awareness of the body breathing. And staying with that as best as possible. Is the awareness on the breath. And if the awareness was pulled away, being kind and compassionate, not judging, expecting perfection. Coming back to the breath again and again. Now I'd like to lead us into inquiry or practice. We can test the havening. So I'd like you to remember an event that may have agitated you, and let's please not go to 8, 9, 10. Just thinking about a situation that may have been frustrating, upsetting, or you maybe didn't feel in control, we weren't happy, maybe upset. Remembering that situation. Maybe we feel we weren't being treated fairly. Whatever the situation, condition was, bringing that to the mind's eye. We may notice the agitation in the body from recalling this event. What sensations are in the body right now? Maybe there's a tightness in the chest. Maybe the palms are sweaty. Maybe the breath has gotten shallower. Noticing the body sensations. Now implementing one of the havening techniques or alternating between 2 or 3. And have the fingertips in the middle of the forehead, pulling out. Maybe having the hands on the shoulders, moving down to the elbows. Or maybe the practice with the fingertips on the wrist, pulling across the palms to the, just continuing the havening technique. Seeing if we're noticing anything in the body. Maybe the tightness is loosening, letting go. Maybe the breath, if it was starting to speed up, is maybe starting to slow down. Maybe the palms are still sweaty, depending. And then letting go and resting the hands. Coming back to the awareness of the breath in the body. Seeing if there was maybe an arousal of, seeing if that maybe has settled a little from the havening. Using mindful awareness of the body breathing. And the point of that exercise was not to get us riled up or agitated, but one, showing just the memory or the thought and recalling something, how it does have an impact on the body, as if it's happening again in front of us. And then having techniques and tools, like the mindful awareness, how agitated am I? Once you start to get to a higher level, it may be harder to control our responses, our reactions. We may need assistance, like one of the havening techniques, to help calm the central nervous system, have the amygdala not feel as threatened, reducing that survival instinct response, helping settle and calm and ground into the body. So then our mindfulness practice, interacting, can help us maybe respond something that is more useful, helpful to us and the loved ones around us. Coming back into the room, maybe wiggling the toes, circling the shoulders. So if you'd like any more information on havening techniques, the twin brothers, the doctors, have a website. It's havening, havening.org. havening.org. So havening.org. There's videos on there. I haven't looked at them. There may be more techniques there. There's lots of papers, research articles, whiteboards, lots of additional information. So I hope you found today of use to you, and I'd like to wish you a lovely rest of your Wednesday. So may your mind be at peace, may your words come from a place of love, and may your heart be filled with joy. Thank you.